If I had to describe the reading week in 3 words, I guess the first one would be cozy. Yeah, it was really nice to all sort of be working in the quiet together. I got a lot done. And definitely chaotic as well outside of the working time, especially at meals. Everyone sort of eating and drinking and chatting. And then the last one would be fairy tale, because it was just a total fairy tale. It was my first time, the reading week, both times was my first time going to Cornwall, and I'm just so in love with the place now.
Yeah, 3 words is very tricky. I think Peter captured it very well in the report, which was that it's a week of total contradictions. Like, it was at once entirely chaotic and then at once also completely peaceful, and there's moments of just sitting, and I did a lot of like running out and having a coffee and just sort of seeing no one. So peaceful, chaotic, and just immediately very, very comfortable, I would say, is my
Comfortable's good.
third word. Oh, highlights of the week.
I mean, obviously, all of the work we did.
All of the work we
just
did.
so
All of
productive.
the work we
Don't
did.
even worry about it. But also definitely one day after lunch we took a big walk to Mavagissy, and we all went to the pub there. And then on the way back we spotted this van selling fresh fish that had been caught that day, so we bought some for dinner, and it was just really, really good.
Yeah, one highlight is really hard. I think swimming every day, that was a definite highlight.
Oh, the water was beautiful.
We had like some like almost seemingly tropical, even though freezing swims, and then some like hailstorms. That was a real highlight.
And just, everyone's cooking as well. Oh my god.
Yeah, and just the energy. I think like the whole group gelled really well, really quickly, and it just felt like this very friendly, very, very supportive environment very quickly. So I think that, as a general highlight, was definitely worth mentioning.
You went swimming each day?
Every day.
Freezing?
Yeah. It was freezing. It was really
invigorating.
freezing. Invigorating, and then it gets a lot better. Like the first day it was sort of screaming, and then by the 5th day, 6th day...
I was still screaming.
Still screaming, but like...
Yeah, but then it's good.
Yeah, I had a swim on the last morning where I had my coffee and I was just going to go down and just like say goodbye to the beach, and I was like, oh, I'll just get in. And to feel quite like picturesque, so yeah.
The most challenging aspects. I had to be in a very small, very old car with Eva as they were sort of achingly slowly trying to reverse up a tiny hill on the way with all the shopping in the back, and that was pretty bad, I reckon.
Yeah, no, that sounded stressful. For me, challenging aspects, I mean, you're living very, very, as people know, living very, very closely with lots of people that you don't know very well, which is a blessing, and also by the end of the week, not difficult, but particularly meal times, you've got this quite little table and 17 people and zero arm space. And as a person who doesn't generally sit very, very close to people, that became a challenge, but not an awful one. It was a manageable challenge.
But banging elbow.
I had a nice, very, very quiet meal on my own when we got back, and that was nice. Highlights in terms of meals. Incredibly good food, actually. I think everyone was really enjoying having the afternoon off and doing a bit of cooking. So we had there was no pesto pasta, peas situation, but it would have been fine too. But we had some incredible like chickpeas and sweet potatoes and this incredible soup. And the day when I got to cook as well was really quite good fun. And then you just get to sit and chat and have a bit of a break. Low lights for the food. All the food was very good. There was one incident where kale became sort of carcinogenically burnt, which I didn't do, but I was blamed for because I found it in the garden still smoking. So I feel like my reputation has been slightly tarnished by that event. But no, generally food was very good, with the one slight hazard of having to sit very, very close to everyone at all times. But we got past that.
Yeah, I agree. Meal times were broadly amazing. I mean, everyone was so talented. There was this one night they did like chili and quesadillas and these gorgeous pickled onions that I honestly still dream about. And then on the Friday night, we got fish and chips from the local chippy. And they have made their portions smaller since last year, I will say, but it was still really, really good. In terms of downsides of the food, on like day 3, I think, I tried to bake a cake in like the famously sort of old, cold, like poorly working oven, and it was flat as a pancake, and I sort of threw a tantrum about it for about 3 hours. So maybe one day my pride will recover, but maybe not.
So the intellectual aspects of the week, I'd chosen to start with my sort of driest bit of revision because I thought, bring the not boring, but bring the harder stuff and then do it in the picturesque scenery. And it was actually really easy. I mean, I heard originally we'd be doing about 4 hours a day, and there was never once a minute where I thought, oh, do we really have 2 hours left? Or, you know, so that actually sped by. And I managed to make Enlightenment history relatively interesting. Not, you know, the most interesting thing I've done all year, but, you know, I think the setting did enhance that a bit.
Yeah, I'm a medical student, obviously, and I actually had to apply for permission from my director of clinical studies to get the time off from placement to go on the reading week. So I was very much hyping up in these emails how academically suitable it was going to be. But I think I did do a good job. The nature of my work is quite broad, so I have to know a little bit about a lot of things. So it was a lot of like flashcards and textbooks and copying out anatomy and stuff like that. But also, I got to spend a little bit of time. We do these special study themes where we can basically pick a topic that we want to study that is sort of peripheral to medicine, but not the clinical syllabus. And I chose health humanities, which meant that I got to spend a little bit of the week reading Jeanette Winterson and sort of thinking about how I was going to write about the portrayal of medicine in that. So a million miles away from what I'm used to in a term, and it was a really nice break to take some time and do that.
I mean, perhaps Kate can answer this question better in a minute, but in terms of rituals which happen perpetually, Peter was quite good at setting out, oh, you know, we don't have to do this, but normally we do a walk to Mevagissi on Wednesday, and on Friday, for whatever reason, we have gin and tonics, and no one really remembers why, but Friday's gin and tonic day. Lots of games. I think lots of charades and sort of embarrassing oneself in the evening was quite traditional, I felt. A washing up song was quite traditional. We had quite a lot of, so I've heard it's traditional, Kate can confirm, but we had some Zumba cross washing up moments, which was quite fun. I mean, Kate's been twice, so Kate, what's traditional?
Yeah, what was sweet was that last year was the first year that Ray Ockenden didn't go on the reading party trip after many, many years of single-handedly making it happen. But he was devastated to learn that for whatever reason there was no longer a copy of a dictionary in the house with which to play the dictionary game.
Yes.
So he sent one down with Peter, this brand new edition, and we played the dictionary game, which I actually was in bed for, but because I wasn't feeling so well. But essentially, you all find a word which you think that no one will ever know the definition of, and then you all try and make up the most convincing sounding definition. I think queech was a highlight.
Queech was a highlight. Lysatricious, meaning smooth-haired. Queech, meaning a thicket. But no, apparently that's a Ray Ockenden special, which has continued beyond Ray Ockenden's time. So
we've honoured him.
Yeah.
And all of the sort of raising a glass to Ray and the history of the reading party on the first night as well. Stuff you can get quite sentimental about, I think. I know I did.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly was a very mixed group. It was quite a lot, I mean, mostly finalists, so quite a few fourth years doing science or medicine or languages, and then a few third years finalists. But, I mean, it wasn't such a nice community. I didn't feel like there was no one I'd never met before, to be honest. But it worked very well. There was no sort of dominant faction of a certain subject or dominant faction of a little friendship group. In my experience, I mean.
No, absolutely. I think that I didn't know most of the people super well, but I knew everyone at least a little bit. And then over the course of the week, I think I've made some really good friends. So that's really nice.
That's pretty nice.
You know, no one, I think, felt excluded, or no one wasn't contributing. No one was like rushing off when it was trying to wash the dishes. And then Peter and Marta and Alice, who are obviously a little bit older than us, still just hung out with us and integrated super well. And it was just really nice. Yeah, Peter by this point is a really good friend of mine. Like, I love him to bits. And he is basically the reason the reading party is still happening. Like, he's looked for people to take it over, and sort of unsuccessfully, like, if he's ever sick one year and can't do it, then it just won't happen. So we all owe him a lot, I think, but he's a real sweetheart. And yeah, he was hanging out with all of us, you know, walking with us, having drinks with us in the pub. Bless him. And you can tell he really, really likes doing it, which is good because I think a lot of tutors wouldn't be enthused to hang out with undergrads in that way. We're pretty gross. But yeah, Peter's an absolute star.
I mean, having not experienced the Ray Ockenden reading party, it's hard to compare. I do know Ray studying German, so I have an indication of what that might have been like. But no, Peter was great. It was just a really easy, sort of nice environment immediately. And I think there was a nice balance of, well, I'm aware there's a tradition here and I'm aware this is part of a sort of legacy thing and there's certain rules to be followed, but also a freedom to sort of say, how are we going to do it this year and what are we all going to do? And, you know, this year we swam more than they did last year, but we did less of other things or, you know, but no, I really enjoyed.
And he plays, what is it, an accordion? He plays the accordion like a maniac.
Really well. We had a Kaylee where there was another, I think, hopefully a new tradition that we're 2 years running trying to set up is, well, Eva pretty much is trying to set up, but Kaylee with accordion and violin, a bit of dancing, and Peter did that really, really well. And just a lovely guy. I mean, it was nice to chat to him and, yeah, get to know the whole group, really.